Hey, great to meet you, Tina.
Oh, same here, Ivor.
And as you well know, I actually got contact with you through Warren Matthews of Xtend-Life. So I'll be doing a little research to support him and his team in looking at various ingredients for their products. And to that point, actually, they're interested in a couple of your components, particularly cardio 7 and Cyanthox. And I know you make lots of nutraceutical ingredients in your company, Puredia. And I thought we might start off with your background and that of your company. And my understanding is you're a full medical doctor, yeah?
That's correct. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Ivor. So, a little bit about myself and about the company. So, Puredia was founded by my father and myself, which are both medical doctors. We are all devoted to promote health education and health management, not just for the wealthy, but also for everyone in the world. With that mission, my father has actually founded his first pharmaceutical business back in 1990, primarily working with injectables like botulinum toxin. However, at the back of his mind, he's always believed that we are what we eat. So he spent 10 years traveling to the world to discover a plant or food that we can apply our pharmaceutical knowledge and technology. Finally, he found that up 5,000 meters up in the Tibetan plateau, under its extreme weather, altitude, and pure environment, we found that it was the perfect place to nourish traditional medicine and highly bioactive superfood, and we found sea berry. As you know, most of the herbs or natural product in the market are mostly based on story or tradition rather than on a scientific evidence. So in Puredia, it is really important that we base on three principles, which is organic, innovations, and clinically proven. Our goal here is to blend traditions, botanical medicine, with pharmaceutical technologies, which is the best in the past and the best right now, to create a synergies of clinically proven products and trusted products to bring products that work without giving you major side effects like medications, but also bringing natural products as our bodies do not recognize the synthetic nutrients which most of the supplements are made up from in the world right now.
And I'm conscious of your time now, so I might move on to Cyanthox, which is another of your products that Xtend-Life are interested in including in their new products. And maybe give us an overview of Cyanthox and how it may be interacting with potentially improving human health.
Well, definitely. So there are three groups of major nutrients in sea berry, including omegas, vitamins, and antioxidants. By using pharmaceutical technology, we are now able to extract and concentrate the nutrients in a form of a compound, not just a single nutrient, but a group of nutrients that share the same properties. So, for example, for Cyanthox, we have extracted the antioxidant part of the sea berry, which includes proanthocyanidins and flavonoids like quercetin, isoramidin, and camphorol. Proanthocyanidins was first discovered in 1947 by Jacques Mescalier, who developed a technique to extract this compound from pine bark and grape seeds. This compound is also associated with cranberries, cocoa beans, bilberries, red wine, which we have all heard a lot about its antioxidants benefit. Well, the main difference between Cyanthox and all this other extract is the unique combination of antioxidant profile triggered by the harsh environment in Tibet. Well, many studies have shown that prominent health benefits, including modulating lipid profile, help to improve the vascular elasticity and flexibility, also acting as a very strong antioxidant to combat free radicals and to help with a wide array of aging problems, including eyes, gastrointestinal, and skin problems as well.
Right. And the trials that I've seen so far, they may some of them anyway, suffer with using different compounds, suboptimal compounds, etc. So I think the trials would need it to be specifically done on the best or most optimally produced compounds. So maybe we'll have a word in terms of Cyanthox on the trials related to it, and some details around that.
Well, definitely. So, first of all, there is a wide variability in the Seabuckthorn compound being studied. I see there are a few reasons for that. First, Seabuckthorn is very much like wine grapes. Depending on the conditions where they are grown, the nutrients concentration varies as well, which will affect the study results, obviously. So, for example, Seabuckthorn grown in the Tibetan highland, which is at least 3,000 to 5,000 meters above the sea level, can have 5 to 10 times more vitamin C compared to those grown in a lower land, like in Russia, in Europe, and in some part of China. So for this reason, it is not unusual for a brand in Europe to purchase sea buckthorn from Tibet in order to have a richer nutrients profile. Now, secondly, which is a little bit of sad information, is due to the adulteration problem, which is a growing issue for many ingredient suppliers, but also for the finished product as well. In the case of sea buckthorn, this especially applies to the oil. There's a lot of counterfeiters that have been known to take regular vegetables oils and color in order to get the rich sea buckthorn color, but also with a much cheaper cost. They then sell them with way below our usual authentic sea buckthorn, making it very difficult for actual real deals products like us. So for this reason, we always encourage consumers and universities researchers to only acquire or use sea buckthorn products from sources that they know they can trust, to which publish and share the information. So in here, definitely, Ivor, I encourage your listeners as well to come up to our website, which you will see that we share most of our information, including the product specifications, our clinical studies, our technology up on our website. Now, third, technologies means a lot of things. Cyanthox is a patent process product that enable us to extract and standardize not just one nutrient, but a combination of them. While most of the poanthocyanidins or sea buckthorn extract in the market will only have maybe part of the nutrients profile we offer, all our products are being tested by international standard. And when you compare our composition, which once again you can see on our website, you can see that in our composition, we do not just have the poanthocyanidins, but the other antioxidant component, including the flavonoids, the quercetin, camphorol, they are way higher than the other sea buckthorn extract in the market.
Right, Tina, and I might include some of those diagrams when I edit the video later. But yes, in the nutraceutical industry and supplement kind of sphere, there's a huge problem with counterfeiting, with substandard components, poor extraction methods, and Warren actually filled me in on some of these, and it's quite eye-opening. So quality and top grade, manufacturing excellence is hugely important. It sounds like you guys are all over it. To that point, maybe a little more on your actual extraction technique, like we talked about for Cardio 7. Maybe we go through a little bit of that process briefly.
Well, definitely. So, first of all, it's still the beginning that matters, which we can refer back to the other interview and we can talk and you can see how we did the process of the first half of this product. Now, coming to the Cyanthox, because it's using a patent technologies that really concentrate not just one antioxidant, but a group and combinations of antioxidants. It takes around 200 to 300 kilograms of the Tibetan sea buckthorn to make just 1 kilogram of our Cyanthox. So you can imagine how concentrated it is as compared to some of the products out there. Now, bringing back into our patent process, what we did is actually we have a combination of bioflavonoids and polyphenols and poanthocyanidins. It is actually a proprietary blend that we put as well in terms of the antioxidants and flavonoids. But we are so grateful that we'll be able to put all of this one items together from one tiny fruit, and which can help with the cardiovascular, skin, and gastric health.
Yep, and combination, there's so many synergies in nature that, yeah, we should always strive towards getting together the maximum number of beneficial components into one package and optimally. And also environmentally, I think your whole operation, as you mentioned earlier, is extremely environmentally focused and sustainable, which is a great thing too. A lot of the kind of pharmaceutical type industry can be associated with rather negative environmental impacts. So this mechanistic and laboratory science that's building around Cyanthox and similar compounds, maybe we look at some of the human data or human trials as they're becoming available around Cyanthox benefits.
Well, first of all, Ivor, I have to acknowledge all the research efforts that you have put together towards this interview. Well, let's start with the first thing, which is our ORAC level. So ORAC stands for Oxygen's Radical Absorbance Capacity, ORAC analysis. When we look at Cyanthox as compared to a couple of very powerful, well-known, long history extract in the market, what we have found is our ORAC level is around 895,000, which makes us 8 times stronger than the grapeseed extract and 1.7 times more potent than a French pine bark extract. Now, again, we encourage your listeners to come up to our website, which we have all this information listed. One of the very interesting human clinical studies that we have carried out is actually a stem cell study done on our Cyanthox ingredient. In this study, what we have found is Cyanthox was able to, within 2 hours, to stimulate 3 types of stem cell in our body. So stem cell is kind of like our mother cell. When we have a mother cell, our body will then differentiate that into daughter cell. May that be joint cell, muscle cell, skin cell, etc. So the 3 type of stem cells that has been mobilized and stimulated are first a hematopoietic stem cell, which is key in energy and immune health. The second type is the endothelial stem cell, which is key to arterial health and muscle recovery. And the third type of stem cells are the mesenchymal stem cell, which is key to skin, connective tissues, vitality. So stem cells can, one of the very typical example of stem cell production in our body is that when our heart is going through some sort of acute injury, like heart attack, this is the time when the most differentiation of our endothelial stem cell being observed. So you can also go up to YouTube and you can find a video from the scientist that talks about this study as well. In another study, sea buckthorn seed and fruit was actually found to be highly beneficial for patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Another very interesting study that was done on 120 human adults ranging from 45 to 65 years old, over a 90 days digestions of the sea buckthorn extract. What we have found is there are an increase in our endogenous antioxidants level, which is called the superoxide dismutase, SOD, and glutathione, as well as a decrease in our MDA, our malondialdehyde, which is a product of lipid peroxidation. What was particularly notable was that the conclusion, sea buckthorn poanthocyanidins were 2.7 times more effective in increasing SOD and 1.8 times more effective in reducing our MDA as compared to grapeseed poanthocyanidins. Again, bringing this Cyanthox together with the lipokine benefits of cardiomedia really intensified these benefits.
Yeah, and I've seen much of the trials you referred to there, and very, very solidly executed. I particularly loved like the SOD, reductions, and the glutathione, the body's primary antioxidant. So there seems to be quite significant effects on the whole antioxidant system, even though I know in the past antioxidants have been somewhat discredited by using the wrong doses, the wrong types of compounds, and that these trials you're talking about are actually quite impressive. The stem cell arena I've not got into so much, but I was very interested in that trial you mentioned where the progenitor stem cells were increased in production in the hours following taking the compounds. And those endothelial progenitor and other cell types you mentioned would, of course, add to arterial repair, hence they're released after a cardiac event. But they also would tie very closely to what Xtend-Life are focusing on is arterial health, enhancing repair, limiting damage. So maybe a little word more on that, on how the stem cell aspect would be very contributory to avoiding calcification and avoiding arterial disease.
So I think one of the thing is that a calcifications you can consider that is an ongoing process in our body that is triggering to ultimately a cardiovascular event. So in a way, it is considered as a damages happening in our body. So what happened is when stem cells has noticed a certain level of damage has built up, this is when they will start kicking into actions. So what Cyanthox can do is actually helping this process to begin earlier so that we can, to look at the arterial problem, also the vascular elasticity, flexibility, etc.
And beyond the cardiovascular and metabolic syndrome and anti inflammatory effects, and all of those aspects that are now being investigated increasingly, there's a further range of benefits potentially, but perhaps early in the research at this stage. So, like cardiomega 7, Cyanthox also has potential knock on effects to health beyond what we're primarily focused on. So, maybe we talk a little about that before we close.
Definitely. Well, there are many health benefits being studied, but two of the main benefits that I would like to share are the eye health and the gut health. Those are the two big areas in health. In an animal studies on rabbits, the sea buckthorn proanthocyanidins has shown a protective effect against light-induced retinal degeneration via antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, and anti-apoptotic mechanisms. In terms of the gut health, there are some compelling human studies for patients suffering from ulcerative colitis, peptic ulcers, chronic gastritis, which are like chronic inflammation happening in our gut health. So in this study, sea buckthorn was tested against some common medications, and it has shown some really impressive results when combining the antioxidants benefits of Cyanthox with the mucous membranes, eye and gut health benefits with the cardio-media. I can see a multifaceted approach to many of our aging problems in our body.
And yeah, the gut health again, it came up earlier in the conversation. Huge new emerging area, the mucous membranes, the leaky gut type phenomenon. And it kind of makes sense that a compound that has benefits in multi anti-inflammatory pathways and potentially stem cell release and all these things will have a kind of a knock-on benefit throughout other subsystems of the body. That's just generally how it tends to work. So I might ask, before we wrap up actually, just a question on synergy. So you mentioned Cyanthox and cardiomega 7 having probably synergistic effects and certainly complementary. But these two compounds are being considered for Xtend-Life's new product focused on arterial health. And I would look at the various other compounds in these new products like tocotrienols and rutin and other beneficial compounds that your two components, and you're aware of the other, I think, elements being considered, your two components should be very complementary, perhaps synergistic, but certainly one would not expect any negative interaction. They would all tend to flow all towards improving the same physiological pathways.
Definitely. If you look behind it, if you look beyond it, what happened is that, there are a couple of major nutrients group in our body. They are carbohydrates, omegas, antioxidants, vitamins. So what these two products can contribute is really arenas that representing the major nutrients in here, the omegas and the antioxidants. And what I'm aware is that in this formulas of the Xtend-Life products, it also help with different areas in our balanced diet. So in overall, I really think this is a great healthy supplement, additional to our diet as an adjuvant therapy.
Yeah, and actually, that finishes on a very important point as we wrap up. That Warren and myself, I've always stressed, and he agrees entirely, that a proper, focused, low glycemic, nutrient dense diet is the real thing that underpins health or helps with someone who's developed disease in order to resolve it or reduce their risk. So diet is core, but then, as you say, add in multiple beneficial compounds to kind of accelerate healing and supercharge the process, if you will. But you got to be real careful. You pick the top quality, best extraction, best delivery system, bioavailability, and best components, all environmentally sound, and then you're really onto something. So thanks so much, Tina. Really enjoyed this conversation. And any last thoughts, or will we let you get back to business?
Well, Ivor, thank you so much for having me here today once again. I think what we are doing here really is important is promoting the right health educations and really everyone to be able to have a control of their life and for their health.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's all about. So thanks so much, Tina, and have a great evening.